Hey guys, welcome back to my channel Moonlight Tales. Tonight's story is about betrayal, not the loud kind, not the kind that ends with shouting, but the quiet kind, the kind that happens slowly, one message at a time. It's about trust, about what we choose to ignore, and about the moment you realize the person lying next to you is no longer on your side. If you've ever questioned a late reply, a changed password, or a feeling you couldn't explain, stay with me. This one gets uncomfortable. The secret didn't feel like a heavy burden at first. It felt like a vibration in my bones, a low-frequency hum that made everything in our quiet, suburban house look slightly out of focus. I sat across from him at the dinner table, watching him blow on a spoonful of soup. He was talking about his day, something about a budget meeting and a broken copier. All I could hear was the sound of my own pulse. 2 hours ago, I was in a hotel room downtown. I could still feel the phantom pressure of someone else's hand on my waist, a tactile ghost that made my skin crawl under my silk blouse. I looked at my husband, at the soft lines around his eyes, at the way he reached out to touch my hand, and I felt a physical wave of nausea. "You're quiet tonight," he said, his thumb brushing over my knuckles. "Everything okay at the gallery?" "Just a long day." I lied. The word felt like a jagged stone in my throat. I pulled my hand away to reach for my wine glass, my movements jerky and uncoordinated. I've been married for 10 years. 10 years of rock-solid stability, of "I love you" shouted from the shower, of shared dreams about a house by the lake. And in 45 minutes of weakness, I had set fire to the foundation of it all. The momentum of the betrayal was already picking up speed, a silent landslide. I couldn't stop. I looked toward the entryway, where my purse was hanging on the hook. Inside, tucked into the side pocket, was a key that shouldn't exist. It wasn't for our house. It was for a luxury apartment on the other side of the city. A gift from a man who knew exactly how to find the cracks in my contentment. "I was thinking," my husband continued, oblivious to the crater opening up between us. "Maybe we should take that trip to Italy this summer. Just the two of us. We need to reconnect." The irony was a physical blow. I stood up too quickly, my chair screeching against the hardwood floor. I think I need to lie down. I have a headache." I didn't wait for him to respond. I ran up the stairs, the sound of my own footsteps, feeling like a pursuit. I locked the bathroom door and leaned against the sink, staring at the woman in the mirror. She looked the same, but she was a stranger. Then my phone vibrated on the marble counter. A text message lit up the screen. "I still smell your perfume in the room. When can I see you again?" The screen went dark, but the word stayed, burned into my retinas. I looked at the bathroom door. I could hear my husband coming up the stairs, his footsteps steady and trusting. I realized then that the solid life I had built wasn't a fortress anymore. It was a glass house, and I had just thrown the first stone. The vibration of the phone on the marble felt like a thunderclap. I grabbed it, my fingers slicked with cold sweat, and deleted the message so fast I almost dropped the device. My heart was a frantic animal, trapped in my chest. Outside the bathroom door, the floorboards groaned. He was right there. "Hey, you okay?" he asked through the wood. "I've got some aspirin in the nightstand, if you need it." "I'm fine," I called back, my voice tight, artificial. "Just give me a minute." I splashed cold water on my face, trying to wash away the look of a woman who had just been dismantled. I caught my reflection again. The eyes looked guilty, searching for an exit. That didn't exist. I tucked the phone into my pocket, checked the lock one last time, and forced myself. Open the door. He was standing there with a glass of water, that worried, gentle look on his face that used to be my anchor. Now, it felt like a spotlight on my betrayal. As I walked past him toward the bed, he leaned in and kissed my forehead. I stiffened. It was a micro movement, a fraction of a second, but I saw his eyes flicker. "You're freezing," he said, his hand lingering on my arm. He looked down, his brow furrowing. "Where's your watch?" "You never take that off." I froze. The watch, the antique gold piece he'd given me for our 5th anniversary. I'd taken it off. In the hotel room, I could see it clearly, sitting on a glass nightstand, next to a half-empty bottle of scotch. I think I left it at the gallery." I stammered. I took it off, to help hang a heavy frame. I must have forgotten it. The momentum of the lie grew heavier. I could feel the gravity of it, pulling at me. He nodded, but the look of absolute trust didn't return to his face. He walked to the chair in the corner and picked up my coat, the one I'd tossed there. When I walked in, "I'll put this away for you," he said. "No." The word came out too loud, too defensive. He stopped, holding the coat by the shoulders, his concern shifting into confusion. "I was just being helpful," he said. "Why are you so jumpy?" As he moved to hang the coat, a small white card fluttered out of the pocket and landed face up on the rug, a valet slip from the Grand Regency, the hotel downtown. He stared at the slip, then he looked at me. The silence in the bedroom became a vacuum, sucking the air from the room. I watched his mind work, watched the pieces connect. The long day at the gallery, the valet ticket, a hotel 5 miles, in the opposite direction. "The gallery is on 5th, he said quietly. "The Regency is on 12th. His voice flattened. "Why was your car at a hotel, Sarah?" I opened my mouth to speak, but the lie wouldn't come. The truth pressed against my teeth, ready to shatter everything. The valet slip sat on the rug between us, like a live grenade. The white paper looked blindingly bright against the dark wood. David didn't reach for it. He didn't even point at it. He just kept his eyes on mine, his hand still holding my coat, waiting for the explanation that he knew, and I knew, wasn't coming. "The Regency has a great restaurant," I finally said, the words tasting like dry sand. "I had a lunch meeting." I must have forgotten to toss the slip. "A lunch meeting," he repeated. He draped the coat over the back of the chair, his movement slow, deliberate, like he was handling something fragile that had already broken. "With who?" he asked. "You told me you were skipping lunch." To finish the layout for the opening, "David, I don't remember every second of my day," I snapped, using anger like a shield. It's the oldest trick in the book. Deflect the guilt by acting insulted. I walked toward the bed, turning my back on him as I pulled back the duvet. "I'm exhausted. Can we just drop the detective act? It's a piece of paper." I heard him move, not toward the door, toward the nightstand. He picked up his phone. "I'm not playing detective, Sarah," he said. "I'm trying to understand why my wife looks like she's seen a ghost and why she's lying about where she parked her car." He tapped the screen, his thumb moving with a terrifying rhythm. "I saw the credit card alert this afternoon. A charge for the Regency bar. 2 drinks. 3 o'clock. I froze, my hand still on the pillow. I'd forgotten the shared account. I'd been so caught up in the rush, the adrenaline of being in that room, that I hadn't thought about the digital trail. I was with a client. I whispered, my voice losing its edge. It was just a drink. "A drink at a hotel?" He walked around the bed, stepping into my line of sight. He didn't look angry. He looked hollowed out. "You hate that hotel," he said. "You called it overpriced and pretentious. So why were you there in the middle of a workday, buying 2 drinks, and leaving your watch behind?" The mention of the watch again made my skin itch. He was circling the truth, closing the perimeter. I felt the night shifting from a bad feeling to a full collapse. "David, please," I said, my eyes filling. I've been under a lot of pressure. I needed to get away. "From what?" he asked, stepping closer. "From us?" "From me." He reached for my phone on the nightstand. I moved instinctively, but he held it just out of reach. It wasn't aggressive. It was the move of a man who realized he didn't know the person in front of him. "Give me the phone, David," I said, my heart hammering. "Don't do this. If it's just a client," he said, his voice trembling now, "then you won't mind if I see who you were texting 5 minutes ago in the bathroom." The phone buzzed, Sarah. I heard it through the door. He looked at the screen. I saw the light reflect his eyes, and I knew it instantly. The solid foundation of our marriage had finally turned to dust. The glow from the phone screen washed David's face. In a sickly, artificial blue, I watched his thumb hover over the glass, and for a moment, the world went completely silent. No hum from the furnace, no wind against the window, just the sound of my own blood rushing in my ears like a distant ocean. "Don't," I whispered. It wasn't a command. It was a plea for a version of our life that was already dead. He didn't listen. He swiped. He didn't even need the passcode. I'd been so distracted by the rush of it all that I'd left the conversation open. I watched his eyes move, line by line, word by word. His face didn't crumple. It didn't flush with rage. It went white, the color of bone, the color of a winter sky, right before snow falls. "I still smell your perfume." He read aloud. His voice was a rasp, a dry rattle. That didn't sound like his anymore. "When can I see you again?" He looked up from the screen, and for the first time in 10 years, he looked at me with total, unfiltered loathing. "10 years, Sarah," he said. "We were talking about Italy this morning. We were talking about a house by the lake. And you were," he swallowed hard, "you were smelling like someone else in a hotel room while I was at work. It's not what you think." I started the most hollow sentence in the human language. "Don't you dare," he hissed. The force of his voice made me flinch. He threw the phone onto the bed. It bounced off the duvet and skidded across the floor, cracking against the leg of the vanity. "Don't you dare tell me it's not what I think, when the evidence is literally vibrating in your pocket. Who is he? Is it Marcus? From a gallery?" "No," I said, the tears finally spilling over. I reached for his arm, but he stepped back like I was contagious. "It doesn't matter who it is," I said. "It was a mistake. A moment," he laughed. It was a jagged, ugly sound that tore through the room. "A moment is missing a turn on a highway. A moment is forgetting to buy milk. This is a series of deliberate choices. You drove to the hotel. You handed over your keys. You went up the elevator. You took off your watch. How many moments does it take to destroy a decade?" He grabbed his car keys from the dresser. The night had shifted. This wasn't an interrogation anymore. It was an exit. "Where are you going?" I cried, following him toward the stairs. "David, wait. We can talk about this." "There's nothing left to say," he said. "The person I was going to talk to doesn't exist anymore. She's a ghost." He didn't look back. I heard his boots on the stairs, heavy and final. Then the front door opened. Cold night air rushed into the house, cutting through the warmth of the hallway. I stood at the top of the stairs, watching him disappear into the darkness. The door slammed shut. The sound felt like the final snap of a bone. I stood alone, in the silence of the house I betrayed, my eyes drifting back to the valet slip on the rug. The solid life was gone. There was only the wind and the ticking of a clock that was no longer counting down to anything at all. The taillights of David's car bled into the darkness of the street, leaving behind a silence so absolute it felt physical. I stood in the doorway, cold air biting through my thin silk blouse. But I didn't move. I waited for the sound of him turning around, for the screech of tires that would mean he couldn't leave, that he wanted to scream more, that he still cared enough to fight. The sound never came, just the distant hum of the highway and the rustle of dead leaves skipping across the driveway. I walked back inside and closed the door. The click of the latch sounded like a finality I wasn't prepared for. The house felt different now. The air was stale. The furniture looked like props on a stage, and the Italy brochures on the kitchen counter looked like cruel jokes. I went to the bedroom and picked up my phone from the floor. The screen was a spider web of cracks, but it still lit up. Another message from him, the man from the hotel. I'm outside. I saw his car leave. Opened the door. My stomach turned. The momentum of the affair, which had felt thrilling just hours ago, now felt like a lead weight, dragging me into the dark. I walked to the window and peeled back the curtain. A sleek silver sedan idled at the curb. He sat there, a shadow behind the wheel, waiting to step into the wreckage. David had left behind. He thought this was an invitation. He thought that with David gone, the space was finally clear. He didn't understand that the space wasn't clear. It was scorched earth. I looked at the phone, then at the silver car, then at the empty hallway where David's coat usually hung. And I realized something then. I hadn't just cheated on a man. I had cheated on myself. I had traded a life of substance for a life of shadows. And now the shadows were at my door, demanding to be let in. I didn't open the door. I didn't even text him back. I went into the kitchen, picked up the valet slip from the Regency, and dropped it into the trash. Then I took the gold watch, the one I'd retrieved from the nightstand, and set it in the center of the dining table. It was the only thing left of a 10-year history. I sat down in the dark, watching the silver car eventually pull away from the curb. The headlights swept across the living room walls. One last time before disappearing. I was alone in a house that was no longer a home, surrounded by the ghosts of choices I could never take back. The solid relationship hadn't just imploded, it had evaporated. All that remained was the cold, hard reality of the person I had become. I reached out and touched the gold watch. The metal was cold against my skin. There were no more lies to tell, no more secrets to keep, no more moments to steal. There was only the silence and the long, slow realization that some things, once broken, don't get fixed. They stay broken. A permanent reminder of the night the music stopped, the lights are out, and the story is finished. If you've ever felt the ground fall out from under a life you thought was permanent, you know the hardest part isn't the explosion, it's the quiet that follows. Have you ever made a choice that changed your world in a single night? You tell us in the comments. Like and subscribe for more stories about the high-stakes reality of the human heart. Until next time, remember this: every secret has a shelf life